much for coming today. This is an issue that is very important to me, it's very important to my colleague, and it is a bipartisan issue. And that is why both Felix and I, Republican, Democrat, are here advocating for full restoration of funding for our veterans programs. As you know, the executive budget proposed cutting the funding for a very important Dwyer counseling program, which is a peer-to-peer counseling program in which veterans assist other veterans who have had difficulties and have overcome them, are assisting other veterans who are facing those same challenges when they return from combat. They're trying to assimilate back into civilian life. Also, there are mental health programs for our veterans that are critical and really could mean the life or death between life or death for one of our veterans. And so these programs are very, very critical. They are helping many veterans throughout the state. As you know, the veteran suicide rate is much higher, nearly double the civilian suicide rate here in the state of New York. And so this is a challenge that we need to work together to combat. And in the state budget, we want to see the final state budget, which we will be adopting most likely, hopefully, if it's on time, by April 1st. We want to see full restoration of those funds. It is $4.8 million in a $175 billion budget. That is a small amount of money. And when you see what's happening in Albany with the budget increasing, because it's an increase of roughly a 2.5% increase over last year, when you see that increase, you can't understand or justify why we would take such a small amount away from our veterans. If anything, we should be increasing the money for those who have put their life on the line to protect our freedoms. Instead, what we're seeing is an attempt to cut the funding, and that to me is unacceptable. We will not stand for it. I know that my conference has been very vocal, as have members of the other party. Our conference is dedicated to ensuring that we see full restoration of that money in the final budget, and that's why we're here today with veterans, with supporters of veterans, and with taxpayers saying restore the full $4.8 million in the budget so we can continue the critical Dwyer program and the other mental health programs. I want to introduce my colleague Felix Ortiz, who is joining me. I'm so happy that we're able to make this a bipartisan event because those who serve come from both parties, those who pay taxes come from both parties, and those who support and want to see these programs restored come from both parties as well.
Thank you, Nicole. Let me just, first of all, thank all the veterans that are here. Thank you for behind this important initiative. I was the person who passed the bill in the New York State Assembly regarding the peer-to-peer bill, and that was 2 years ago. And it's incredible that today the attack is in our veterans rather than helping our veterans. You know, we, and including myself, I'm a veteran myself too, we go there and serve this country and serve for democracy, and over the sun we have to come back and fight another fight. And it's the fight to make sure that we have adequate services for every single one of us. To make sure that we have the mental health services that we need when we need it. And it's a disgrace that the executive budget has eliminated the $4+ million, and we will continue to put the pressure. The game is not over yet. We are, like Nicole said, we will be there until April 1st. Hopefully, we get a budget on time. But the fact of the matter is this, that we cannot allow any government entity to take us as a veteran for granted. We cannot allow any governmental entity to allow our children and grandchildren and ourselves to go out there and serve the big fight and then come here and have another fight. So we have to make sure that we can say enough is enough. Enough is enough about using us, and I mean us, the veterans, to be part of a budget cut that we need to fight when it's no need for it. 2 weeks ago was a group of veterans that came to Albany. They came to lobby. They came to talk to legislature, and that is very encouraging to see people of my district, people of Nicole district, come to Albany and come with an agenda. But the agenda doesn't stop there. We have to make sure that we continue to push not just for this $4 million, but for more services that is owed to us as veterans. So I'm here with Nicole and I applaud her effort to make sure that we come all together to send a clear signal to Albany. Enough is enough. Let's restore the money and let's stop playing games with our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. And as Felix said, when we see a veteran, we say thank you. And the legislators in Albany, when we had the American Legion up, they all said thank you. Thank you for your service. But really, we need to do more than just say thank you. We need to show our veterans that we're going to be there for them. And this is a critical program that is the way, by funding it in its entirety, is the way that we say thank you to those who served. I want to introduce Kristen from the New York City Veterans Alliance, who is joining us here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Assemblymember Malliotakis and Assemblymember Ortiz, for your leadership on this important issue. My name is Kristen Rouse. I am an Army veteran. I served 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan for a total of 31 months in country. I am also founding director of the New York City Veterans Alliance. I am here to tell you that we have a national crisis. Veterans are dying by suicide right now in this country at a rate of 20 per day at a minimum. That's what we know about. It is possibly a larger number than 20 per day. Veterans in New York State are dying by suicide at twice the rate of our civilian counterparts. This is a national crisis, it is a state crisis, it is a local crisis. Those most at risk for suicide are the ones who are not connecting with their benefits. It is those who are not connected with VA care. It is those who are not connected with peer-to-peer support. It is those who are not connected to the veterans community, to community resources, and to the essential services that our New York State Division of Veterans Affairs provides for New Yorkers, and also in the peer-to-peer network and the Dwyer Peer-to-Peer program that is working for veterans statewide. We need these programs. It is absolutely unconscionable that the budget would be cut for these essential programs at this time of crisis in our country and in our state. Currently, I am here to remind you that we have wars going on right now. We have troops deployed and dying in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Iraq, in the Horn of Africa, in locations across our globe. Men and women are serving this country in uniform. They are paying the price. They are sacrificing. The least we can do is support them with funding. New York State must restore this funding. It is absolutely unacceptable to cut this small amount of funding when programs are working and when veterans need to stay alive and connected. I would like to introduce you now to one of my battle buddies and one of our members, Elma Sanchez, who can speak to what is happening with New York National Guard soldiers.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Elma. I was deployed in 2012-2013 with the New York Army National Guard, and when we came back, we brought everyone home from Afghanistan. But we were faced with a large number of suicides. So today I'm here begging and pleading that the funding be replaced, because we really need it, especially for the National Guard members, because most of them work in jobs that contain security clearances, and they are scared to go to seek any help whatsoever. So if we have funding, especially for the peer-to-peer program, at least they could seek help from a friend, from a battle buddy, or a neighbor. So the entire thing is to please replace the funding to help our National Guardsmen and all our veterans.
Thank you both. Thank you both for your service. Thank you so much for coming. It really adds a lot of substance to this press conference, because these are people who served and they have friends, and they have friends that need help, and so it really makes the point eloquently about why this is so important. That's everybody that we help in Albany through the budget, there's a face. Every dollar amount that we put forward in the state budget. There are faces behind that money, and you just met two of them who bravely served, and that's why we're here today. I want to just introduce, we were visited by the American Legion in Albany last week, members of the American Legion and the Sons of American Legion who are, and the auxiliary as well, who were in Albany advocating for their legislative priorities. And among, at the top of the list actually, of their legislative priorities was restoration of these precious funds for mental health programs. So who would like to speak? Joe, would you like to speak on behalf of the Legion?
Good morning. My name is Joe Santa Cruz. I'm a former state commander of the Sons of the American Legion. I currently serve as the commander for the Kings County Sons of the American Legion. As Assemblywoman Malliotakis said, we were in Albany last week for our annual Hill Day. The American Legion family showed up from all over the state. And as we get to Albany, we hear word that these tax cuts are coming from Governor Cuomo's budget. Well, immediately, these tax cuts went to the top of the priority list as we met with our legislators the next day. And I must say, right across the board, no matter what party they were with, they all reacted the same way. It can't happen. The tax cuts, 4.8 million, come out to 0.0003% of the total state budget. It is unthinkable that the governor would use these cuts, which seems to be a bargaining chip for his budget to get other things in there. And our veterans of our country cannot be used as a bargaining chip. We need these cuts restored so that these programs, which have been in existence for years, can continue. So I really appreciate everybody's support, and please let our information out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say anything?
Well,
Just
I'm not.
clarify, you meant budget cuts, not tax cuts.
Right, we will just clarify. This is all about budget cuts, not tax cuts. I like to see
He
tax
said tax
cuts.
cuts. We just want to make sure you have it as budget
it's budget cuts. Okay. Just to follow up with what Joe was saying, we do want to make sure that these cuts aren't affecting us veterans. And it's not just the American Legion; it's all veterans. The American Legion was established to be sort of like watchdogs for all the veterans. All right, we want to make sure that whatever you were promised, whatever commitments were made, are followed through. So I didn't mention my name in the beginning. I'm actually Mike Rodriguez. I'm the district commander for 2nd District, which encompasses both Kings County and Richmond County. So I thank you folks for being here.
Thank you.
Hopefully this will work for us.
Thank you, everyone. Are there any questions? Yes.
The press conference seems to focus mostly on the possible cuts to mental health programs that help veterans. Are there other veterans-related programs that are also
Not affected in the budget, no.
Okay.
These are the programs that are affected in this budget. These are the programs that the governor has proposed funding cuts to, and so these are the programs we want to see that full restoration in the final budget.
and is there an estimate in terms of how many veterans have been helped by the Dwyer?
Yeah, I can get you
Peer-to-Peer
those
program?
figures. I don't have them on me, but I can get you the figures.
And this program was created as a result of PTSD, the peer-to-peer group, and I was the legislator who carried the bill.
And Felix,
I was
as a result of the Afghanistan, Iraq, those wars,
everybody.
Okay, thank you.